Hey there, it's Dr. Toby, physical therapist, and in this video, I want to talk about some exercises that somebody can do if you're recovering from a stroke that's going to help to strengthen your legs, your lower extremity. All right. By the way, if you are new to this channel, we help people to heal from pain and recover from injuries, and we help you to stay healthy, pain-free, fit, and mobile. So if that's something that you're interested in, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell notification to get updates on all the video contents that we're sharing and creating to deliver helpful information to you. So what we're going to talk about today is strengthening our legs, our lower body for the purposes of recovering and regaining our strength and our functional ability after a stroke or recovering from a stroke. So what I want to show you today is a series of exercises that are going to be helpful. And these exercises are mostly going to be for individuals who may be a little bit more high functioning or who at least have voluntary control and movement of their body. But at any phase of your care, a certain level or type of these exercise might be beneficial or may be used to help you move along in your recovery process. Okay, so when individuals have a stroke, people fall on different spectrums of the recovery. Some people who have a stroke recover very quickly and very early on. Some individuals have more difficulty or have more of a low level functioning ability after their stroke. So there's a spectrum, but these videos or this particular video will be helpful for individuals who at least have voluntary control or movement of their limbs, meaning that they don't have a significant amount of stiffness. They don't have difficulties isolating parts of their body when they want to move. So for example, one of the challenges with a stroke is that sometimes you lose isolation of movement at certain parts of your body. So let's say I want to reach forward and I just want to grab something. Some people have difficulty doing that because they're in a synergistic position, meaning that their body is stuck in a certain position. And when they want to move one part of their body, their whole entire other part of their body moves with it. So I want to reach forward, but as I'm starting to reach, I can only initiate the movement at my shoulder. I can't stretch my arm straight out and grab. So that can be a challenge for individuals. The same concept applies for their lower extremity. Some individuals who want to just lift their legs straight up, and I'll demonstrate for you. Some individuals want to lift their leg up to take a step, but they find difficulty doing this. So when they're trying to lift up, their hip kind of hikes up and they can't lift their leg straight up forward and reach out and step down. And that can be a difficult challenge for a lot of people. So this is going to be most helpful for you if you have voluntary control and movement and are able to more so isolate movement at certain parts of your body. But for any other individual, it still may be helpful as well, depending on what your presentation is. And we have a list of other videos on our channel that can be of benefit to you. So let's get right into this. The first exercise that we're going to work on is something that's going to help you to improve your walking. Foot drop is a very major issue for a lot of people that causes them to trip, have poor balance. And so one of the things that you want to do when it comes to improving foot dropping is this exercise. And it's really simple. What you're going to do is you're going to lift your ankles up and down. Lift them up. So moving your toes toward your nose. Now, this is helpful because one of the things that happens is people's foot begins to lag and they are not able to lift their foot up and clear the ground when they're walking, and that leads to tripping. So here's what you do again. Lift those ankles up and go up and down. You might find that the side that was affected by the stroke is not able to move up as far as the side that was not affected by the stroke. But the benefit is that when you do these exercises together, the activity from the unaffected side, meaning the side that was not affected by the stroke, when you're doing this activity simultaneously on both sides, the activity from one side helps to reawaken the parts of the brain that were injured or affected from the stroke. So doing exercises simultaneously can be very, very beneficial for regaining normal activity, normal functional ability on the affected side that was impacted by the stroke. So that's the first exercise that I want to show you, and it's super functional. It's super helpful because, again, a lot of patients who I've worked with, they've had strokes and they've had difficulty walking and having balance. They trip up occasionally because their foot begins to drop, but this is an exercise that can really help. Now, starting off, you might be very challenged by this exercise, even though it seems really simple, because it does take a certain amount of strength that you may not have. But what you can do is build it up. So starting with 2 sets of 5, 3 sets of 5, 4 sets of 5, or 2 sets of 10, whichever works best for you. All right. The best way to know what's going to be optimal and most efficient and help you to recover fastest is by talking to a physical therapist. And if you need a resource, we have a Talk to a Physical Therapist button, and you'll see the link to that button right on the comments of this description, or the description of this video. So that's the first exercise. The second exercise is we want to address the part of your body that's extremely crucial for walking, which is your quadriceps, your knee muscle. A lot of people start to have knee buckling, they start to have knee pain or hip pain on the opposite side. So assuming that the right side of my body is affected by the stroke, a lot of people start to put way more pressure on that opposite side, because when they go on to their affected side, they don't feel as steady or as stable. So when they're walking, they spend less time on that affected side because they don't trust it as much, because it feels like it's unreliable. And so they spend a lot of time on that unaffected side. And so they start to develop pain and discomfort. One of the things that's going to help with that is strengthening the quadriceps muscle. And I'm going to show you the exercise you can do. Seems really simple, but it's been one of the most effective exercises that I've done for people that helps with their pain in their knee, but also helps to increase their stability. All right, so you're going to kick your leg straight out, point that ankle back, and hold that for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you count out loud. For a lot of people, and that's really important, for a lot of people who are recovering from a stroke, trying to isolate that movement or hold that motion can be really difficult. They start to maybe lean back or brace a lot of other muscles because they have that difficulty, and this can be really tough for them. And so holding their breath can be a temptation to want to hold your breath to generate more force and power, but holding your breath is going to increase your blood pressure. So you want to avoid that. So as you kick this leg out and you're holding it for 5 seconds, take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to make sure you count out loud, because that's going to ensure that your breath is not being held and make sure that your blood pressure is not going up. So that's number 2. Kick that leg out. Point your foot back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 3. And again, you can do this several times, starting off maybe with 2 sets of 5 if you're really, really weak, or 3 sets of 5, or starting with 2 sets of 10, depending on how you're feeling. So that's another very important exercise that can be helpful, okay? The next exercise that I'll show may be a little bit more challenging, but this is an exercise that can be done in the bed. And so one thing that you'll do is you'll have both feet planted flat on the ground. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna lift your bottom up off of the bed. So you lift up and come down. Lift up and come down. Now this exercise may be more challenging to lift your body weight, but part of what's going to be helpful here is that we have both feet on the ground or on the surface, and I have the support of my unaffected side that's able to help me lift up. You do not need to lift super high. Just being able to lift your bottom up off of the table is good. Even if I get a little bit of motion, it can be good. It's going to help my core strength. It's going to help my leg strength, and that's really beneficial. For some people who are recovering from a stroke, they have difficulty may have difficulty even just sitting up here like this, sitting without any back support. And so they prefer to lay down, to be inclined. The disadvantage to that is that lack of movement and activity leads to more weakening and more weakness. So doing this bridge that I just demonstrated for you is going to be really helpful. Again, I'll show you one more time. And just to give you context as far as the repetitions, the same concept goes. For all of these exercises, you could start off with 2 sets of 5. You could start off with 3 sets of 5 and then progress to 2 sets of 10 and so forth. And so maybe start off with the easiest and go from there and see how you do with that. So again, you don't need to lift up high, but just lift, squeeze your bottom, really squeeze those glutes. There can be a tendency for your glute muscles to be weak on that affected side. And so you want to, as much as you can, try to utilize both sides evenly. And in fact, try to almost utilize the affected side a little bit more so that the side that was not impacted by the stroke is not doing all of the work. Okay. And so that's another exercise that's really, really helpful. Okay. The other thing that you want to consider is lifting up those legs. So you can march just like this, just like that. Trying to do 10 can be helpful. And again, doing that alternating movement is allowing the side of your body that was not affected by the stroke, that activity that's being generated in the brain to move your unaffected side is helping to stimulate activity on the other side of your brain that controls the side that was affected. So to make it really simple, in this scenario, we're assuming that my right side of my body was affected by the stroke. Well, that simply means by me doing this exercise, my left side that was not affected, that activity in the brain is helping to re-stimulate the side that was affected, okay? So doing this exercise may look really simple, but some key things to note here is that I'm doing it without back support. So that is a significant feature, and you don't have to do it that way starting off because, like I mentioned, not having back support can be a difficult thing for people who have a lot of weakness and they don't feel like holding themselves up. So there's a chair that you can do it in that has back support, and that's great. You can do that. But this is a great way to also do it to challenge you even more. And we can also do the same exercise in the chair, having that back support and lifting up. So this is a way to regress that exercise and make it a little bit more easier for you if that's a challenge for you. Okay, so hopefully the exercises that we showed in this video are helpful. There are more advanced exercises or things that we can do, and I'll show you one of them right now before we're done. But what we'll do here, this can be really difficult for people depending on what level they're at. But if you're able to do this, even just doing this 3 times, several times throughout the day can be very helpful. So getting up out of a chair is extremely, I made it look easy, but this can be a very big feat for an individual and can use a lot of energy, okay? So if that's one of the challenges that you might be having, then it's an indication that getting help from a physical therapist will be really beneficial for you. A lot of individuals who want their loved ones to become more independent, and a lot of individuals themselves who want to be more independent, they want to be able to get off the toilet by themselves. They want to be able to get out of a chair by themselves. And this exercise in itself can build your strength and build your endurance to do it. If you have difficulty doing it or are not safe to do it because of your own balance, or you feel the need to pull on things in order to get yourself up, then you definitely want to get help from a physical therapist. The disadvantage of pulling on things is that you can hurt your shoulder or dislocate your shoulder. And if you have balance issues when it comes to getting up out of a chair, or you find that you get stuck in a certain kind of position, or maybe you're even relying only on the unaffected side to get up, those things can be problematic and lead to further challenges, injuries, pain, and discomfort. So that being said, if you're at a point where the only thing limiting you from getting up is just fatigue, then that's a good sign that this was a good exercise for you to do. If you don't have any of those other issues or challenges, you can simply push off and stand up on your own. And maybe it takes a little bit of time, or you just find yourself fatigued after doing 1 or 2 repetitions. Then the best recommendation that I would give you is to tell you that that's an exercise you may want to practice every so often throughout the day, maybe 2 or 3 times a day. But in other scenarios where you have balance issues, And the best way to examine some of these things is, again, getting contact with a physical therapist. So we have a button that you can click right in the description if you need to get in touch with the therapist to kind of share what exactly you're going through and get the best personalized recommendations. But this is some general knowledge for the community to help you understand how to actually start doing some practical things better. All right. So hopefully you found the content in this video helpful and it's beneficial. If you have a loved one who could benefit from these kind of exercises, share this video with them and let them know that they can talk to a PT first, free of charge. There's nothing that it costs you to just reach out and to talk to us and let us know your situation, and we can share some specific guidance with you on what's going to be helpful. And so I hope you found our content helpful. If you did, let us know in the comments what thing was the most helpful for you, or what other things we could do better that would make our videos more productive or relevant to you. Again, we have a whole playlist of stroke rehabilitation activities and exercises and what to do and how to perform certain things. So take a look at those videos, which may be more relevant to you, and subscribe to our channel if you are interested in staying healthy, pain-free, fit, and mobile, because we have an array of different video topics that we cover to help you and be of benefit to you. All right, so I hope you found this beneficial. Again, take care. See you next time.